Good morning. Today we will begin the lessons about the science of general plant breeding. You know, our farmers in the agriculture grew many crop varieties. They will get products for the feeding our people. Scientists discovered that 85% of food products has plant origin. So, cultivating crops are very important for the national programs. Scientists also predicted that in 2050 population grows up to 9 billion over the world. So the demand for the food for the people and animals will grow. So new, more productive varieties of crops must be developed by the breeders. Today our outline for the lecture is the object of general plant breeding. We already briefly mentioned about this subject. The second question comes in terms of scientific methods of general plant breeding. By the scientists of our region, our country and foreign countries have developed different methods to improve cultivating varieties or to create new crop varieties. So they are selection, hybridization, polyploid, mutation, haploid, and biotechnology. Today, depending on the time limit for us, we will get acquaintance with the principles of the first two methods. They are selection and hybridization. And at the end of our lesson, we will get acquaintance achievements, the new varieties created by the using of these scientific methods mentioned here. You can see here two methods involving in the selection. The first is natural selection and the second is artificial selection. In the result of natural selections will be developed or formed more adaptable plant diversities in the different regions of the world, which following will serve as the initial material for the artificial selection. You can see here some of kinds even became as a new variety diversities of cabbage. You can see here ancient form of wild mustard. That was initial material for the creating of this kinds of new plant varieties. This kind of plants were developed in the result of distinct people lived in some remote continent of the world, and for them was preferable selecting this kind of path, this wild grass. They, for the period of long time, selected and propagated seeds only this kind of plants, and they were time by time came to the constant form and get heritable special outlooks, phenotype. And this is also were selected literal buds, part of this wild plant, and time by time have been successfully formed this kind of this crop, and so on. From selection of other parts of this wild grass plant, we developed such kind of other plants, and all they were consumed by the wealth of our people over the world. All they present themselves as the representatives of different crops, but origin the same, this wild grass. This is a result of artificial selection. Here shown another diversity of selection. This is individual selection. You can see here the schematic view of the process. Here was planted population in this nursery, breeding nursery. So breeder selects from this population of plants more desirable plants, more productive and more early ripening, and other with other desirable traits or properties. So about 200 up to 3,000 plants are selected from this population, and they were again planted in the next nursery, in the plant breeding process. So here they will be studied individually in the condition of this field, and undesirable ones with less productivity and more susceptible or prone to some diseases or biotic stresses, they will be rejected. And so the seeds of the best plants again will be selected and replanted in the some of next breeding nurseries, and this will be called preliminary yield trial. Here will be tested only productivity indexes. So here also will be selected the best plants repeatedly, and some of inferior plants on their phenotypic and economic indexes, they will be again rejected. And so this will come eventually to the forming of the uniform families, lines, or varieties. It will be the result of individual selection, which involves the main methods of selection. Here we can see the scheme of mass selection. You see here more number of plants, initial plants were planted here, and most of the part of these plants on their best indexes on the economical traits and properties will be selected. What is they selected? So harvested seeds will united after first selection, and they will study in the more widened nurseries of selection breeding field, and in the second year will be propagated the quantity of seeds, or the number of best plants will be increased here, and formed after harvesting the seed formed as the seeds of superior elite plants here, formed seed stock, and multiplied, propagated this seed stock, and formed as a material of new variety. And negatively, some of the occurring inferior plants on their, again, the economical indexes, they will be rejected. And the last year's seeds will be represent themselves as the seeds of elite plants. So they can represent itself as a new formed variety in the result of breeders' breeding process. After the main method of selection as the individual and mass selections will come next one, hybridization. In general, what is the plant hybridization? Plant hybridization is the crossing two different plants for producing hybrid seeds. So the next progeny taken from this hybridization of two different plants is produced hybrid plants. You see here how will be taken place the hybridization, or simply pollination of two flowers of two different plants. You can see here one normal flower, another one, half of flower is left. What components of flower here absent? You see petal and the anthers absence here. They were removed from the breeder because this flower or represent of the one parental plants should present as a female flower. This is female flower. This has become, after removing the two parts, this has become as a female plant. This is male plant because this flower has anthers also which need to fertilize this. So will be taken hybrid plants. You can see here the best example for the using of methods of plant breeding. They are selection and hybridization. You can see here was shown the example of hybridization, two kinds of wheat. One of them cultivating variety. The second is wild wheat. This is otherwise wheat variety may be cultivating in the fields of farmers. And after this hybridization, breeders successfully could develop some of wheat varieties more productive more resistant to abiotic and biotic stresses, and they are producing the highest productivity in comparison standard varieties, even foreign varieties of wheats, which gives productivity per hectare more than 50, even 70 centenaries, or 7 tons per hectare. This is highest in the level of world productivity of wheats. Such kind of varieties developed by the activities, by the using of this listed methods of plant breeding are varieties of wheat: Zumrat, Kukbulak, Karlik 85, Makus, Ulukbek, Sherdor, Hasildor, Sanzar, and others. This example will be again repeated on the examples of cotton plant, corn, barley, and other agricultural crops. So that's all for today. If you have some questions, misunderstanding about the discussed methods, you can write me and I'll reply as soon as possible to your questions. Thank you for your attention.